and that's not really helping him. Well, things have gone from bad to worse here. He's missed that yellow. His safety's not good. Obviously, Mark Davis got a little nervy towards the end of that last frame, but got it won. And as Dave said, if you can convert this into an interval lead of 4-0, it would be a dreamland, I think, for Davis against the world champion.
Mark Davis has actually won quite a few tournaments, a little below the radar, some of them. 3 of the 6 Reds World Championships. Why he's an expert in that, I don't know, but he's won it 3 times. He won the old Masters qualifier. He won a smaller event in Malta. He won the World Seniors Championship. But obviously, would still dearly love to win a ranking event. Just one final so far. That's a terrific shot. If he's on the black, it must be tight. They'd dearly love to be on it. Pink to the middle would be his second choice. I think it will go. I mean, there's not a lot of room, but I think he can just get through to it, the bonnet. Maybe a trace of left-hand side, which would be within his capabilities on this shot. Problem is, even if he does play it with a trace of side, he's landing in the one place where he might not be able to pot a red after it. But I'm sure this will pot if need be. But slowly. So they're looking at the other option. So, in first, didn't do anything much with it. It was a really good shot on the red, but he felt that he wasn't perfectly on the black. Well, let's see if this is now the start of something, because something needs to change here with Brecel. I think he needs the mid-session to come, and he needs this frame to precede it, you know, and then who knows what's possible, because he's not... a few of the signs are that he's not confident, and he's not having any luck either. Wow. Things are getting worse all the time. Yeah, I mean, that kind of just rubs it in, doesn't it? See what happened. It wasn't a brilliant shot, because he didn't really have control of the cue ball, but even then he was punished in the worst way by knocking the red in. Yeah, he doesn't seem to have got to grips with the table. As I say, played on table 2 yesterday. So all round, not encouraging signs. Well, no, when you think his opponent hasn't even played a match since the qualifiers, so
It's going to be more difficult for Mark Davis to adapt, or it certainly should be.
Yeah, he had I mean, it was back in the UK, but he had a real workout. He played Rod Lawler, 6-4. I'm guessing it wasn't the first match off that session. Now then, what's going to happen here? Well, he's left another potential long red. Well, it's not the worst position to be in, but in a funny way, of course, Mark Davis, he's under a bit of pressure here. Brecel is struggling so badly. He's under pressure to make it 4-0, and OK, that's not the end of the match, but he'd be a heavy favourite after the interval.
I think you're right, Dave. I think he is under it a little bit, and it's strange how people have got their own little personal battles. And he knows he could convert this, and that in itself brings pressure.
Yeah, because he'd be coming in thinking, OK, I'm playing the world champion, this dashing shot maker. We've watched his world championship win, but we've seen none of that really yet.
Start.
Well, I don't know from the top angle how likely it was that he missed it, but he was trying to play it to put it in the thick part of the pocket to hold. It looked as if it could have stayed over the pocket to me. That is no good. That is no good. So he tightened up a bit on the last 2 or 3 shots, I think. And that's what Dave was saying, you know, that the pressure is on him now. The onus is almost on Davis all the way through this match. You thought, well, it's all about Luca, Brecel. Now it's Mark Davis who's sort of in the driving seat, and he's just got to press on. But he won't be at this visit.
Davis, 21.
Well, I think that was the best shot he's hit in the whole match, and that will make him feel, I was going to say better. He can't be feeling too bad as it is, but that will just maybe restore any doubt that he might have had lingering. And again, he's just about okay there, living dangerously. Luca is really not with it at the moment, quite honestly. A player I love watching and Was so pleased to see him win the world title, and that's not going to change anything, but he's struggling today. There you are. More signs of Mark Davis seeing a different perspective for this match now.
Yeah, it's just the strange psychology, isn't it? You know, you'd think he'd be delighted that Brecel's struggling, but because he's struggling, he's under pressure himself to make it pay, and he's missed that one. So, bit of a gift this. Let's see how far Brecel gets here. Just to say briefly, Zhou Yulong is 2-0 up on Anthony Hamilton. Now, why that's interesting is that it's their third meeting in a month. The first one in Wuhan, Zhou Yulong won 5-0. Then last week in the Scottish Open qualifiers, he won 4-0. So he's now 2-0 up. So that's 11 frames in a row. He's won against the Sheriff.
Well, I think, did that drop down a bit? It'd be brilliant to ever see a replay of that. It's out of our hands to show one, but I think that must have dropped down from a straight line. Well, I've had a little look back on Discovery Plus at that last shot and that on the black, and it definitely pulled down a lot actually at the last second. So that would not cheer Luca Brecel up. Well, that might make him feel a bit more chipper. He took that cue ball a very wide angle around the table. At no point did he ever think that he was going to knock the black in.
What?
Blowing a huge shot here. There's a lot of frustration in that shot. I think he almost wants to hit the cue ball back in frustration. He really was chasing that there. That was a difficult shot.
Yeah, he just, when he gets in, he can't control position. Nothing is happening for Brecel. He definitely needs this interval. Problem is he might be 4-0 down. He has had a good break, and you hear players say, oh, I'm nicely refreshed. But the problem with that is everyone else is sharp because they've been playing. Look at Judd Trump. It's the complete opposite.
I think both players need the interval in a strange way, you know. I think Davis needs to win because it's been, you know, we've seen all this big scoring and now all of a sudden this is a pretty average frame, but it's a very significant one. That is a very good shot. That really is. That should settle any possible nerves which might have just got into his cueing arm.
6.
I think this is where a player's temperament
7.
is very important. Now, Luca Brecel is world champion. He's got a terrific temperament, but today he's not really showing that. And he's just making Mark Davis, he's sort of giving him a boost, I think. The way that at the end of frames he's quick to almost want to get on with the next one. The frustration on that long blue that he showed.
41.
And it's going to be 4-0, I think, here. Which is a pretty alarming scoreline if you're a big Brecel fan.
Yeah, as much as Davis has struggled in this frame, Brecel has struggled more. Nothing has happened for him at all in this match. And Mark Davis has picked up the pieces, so a big comeback needed. The interval, if it helps any, it helps the player behind. Brecel needs some help right now. This is chalk and cheese compared to what we've seen him do this year, of course.
And 8.
He'll have 15 minutes to collect his thoughts and nothing to look back on with any satisfaction for him. It's best of 11 though, so there is still time to turn around. But you're going to have to start very soon when they come back. From Mark Davis' perspective, of course, he's got his own things to think about. This will be a huge win for him if he could convert it later on. Had that reprieve, didn't he? And he's determined to continue on the tour into what would be a 34th season next year if he could stay on.
I think beating a current world champion, you know, during the year, they are champ. That's quite a big deal actually for a player. Someone like Mark Davis, it doesn't happen all the time.
46.
And while he hasn't won, 4-0 he'll be feeling good. I think Brecel might come out slightly differently after the mid-session. It might make him a dangerous player, but it's going to be fascinating to see how this match unfolds from here.
Well, Davis started well, breaks of 51 and 76. He did look good in those opening frames. It got a little bit nervy after that, but the fact is Brecel has not really shown up. He's been very poor, and Mark Davis has picked up the pieces. So concern for the world champion, because Luca Brecel has had chances in every frame, but he's 4-0 down at the interval, and he's 2 frames from defeat here in the championship in China. Davis very much in the driving seat. He leads 4-0. Brecel has really struggled. Let's see if he can get back into it and try and apply a bit of pressure. Well, it's like the first frame of the match. First frame, that red was left to the same pocket. Mark Davis potted it, made 51 to get in front. And again, straight away, he's knocked it in here. It is best of 11, so he still needs 2 more, but at the moment, he's looking a big favourite, you've got to say. Not just the scoreline, which is obvious, but just the way Brecel has played today has been concerning, really, for his fans. It's just been a bad day at the office, and he may be about to get worse. Well, there's a red that pots at the bottom of the cluster to the left corner.
Contact. 21.
Well, certainly a chance to get into them here. I think if you could hit that left-hand red or stun into that left-hand red, it might open everything up. Rather than hitting the middle red, it possibly wouldn't work quite so well. Oh, that's a good shot. That's a beauty. He actually caught the left side of the red there and just screwed back through them. It could not have worked out better.
8.
Wow, there you are. He's missed it by a long, long way. That was a moment, potentially, in this match, because I didn't, despite using the spider, I didn't really think he was ever going to miss that.
What?
Well, this is a chance he may not have got, but let's see if he can finally put a break together, just to get the cue ball cleaned. A few things have gone against him as well, but overall, he's been disappointing. But the match isn't done yet, of course. We know he can make comebacks. We saw that in Sheffield.
Six. Seven.
Indeed, I think from 5-0 down, it might have been a bit difficult to have won all the remaining frames. So now I think this match really has to be now. There's no more. He can't push it further down the line. It's got to start now.
14.
And also try and send a message to Davis. If he can win the frame in one visit, you know, my form has suddenly shown up, I've shown up, and I'm going to be a threat. And he can reel very quickly when he hits his stride. By the way, it's now 3-0 to Zhou Yulong over Anthony Hamilton, so an extraordinary run he's having against Hamilton. It's been 5-0, 4-0 the last two meetings. Now it's already 3-0. Ooh, that was very much off the jaw, that one.
23.
Well, that's okay. The bottom red does not go, I don't think. Well, maybe it does, actually. From the top view, I felt he might have to go and play onto a different red. But it went comfortably.
29.
Just an update on Mark Selby. He's 3-0 up Selby against Stuart Carrington. He won this tournament back-to-back, 2016, 2017. Of course, he's already played a match in the UK to qualify. And again, he's just lost his way here.
36.
It's a terrible shot, wasn't it, to finish up there? Oh, this is going to have to go in. Well, he took it on in such a full-blooded way, you know. There's so much could go wrong. I wonder if he's left anything. He may have got lucky there. He's really chasing the game at the moment, Brecel. He's making mistakes and trying to rectify them with a sort of lights-out recovery shot. He did it on a blue earlier that didn't go in. That red, to roll it in and play on the black was a very big shot. So he's kind of chasing things it's almost like trying to run before he can walk. You know, the comeback's got to start with a bit of solid play, I think, from him. At this stage, he has to get frames on the board. It's obvious to say, but he really does. Mark Davis, if you could put him in trouble again here, he would just continue to his Luca's almost agonies out there.
Fault.
That could be very costly indeed.
Well, he's given the old ironic thumbs up there, just a reflection of how he's feeling here.
Now he needs just to ensure that he's on something here. For once, he's not got that lucky. The blue's just been covered to the middle, so big shot required. Well, I'll tell you, for once, he potted a terrific red and he got a little bit unfortunate. He didn't get on the pink. The blue was covered, as you saw. So Davis is feeling it here. You can sense that if Brecel gets his act together, this match is far from over.
What? Fine. Six.
Well, he gave that thumbs up earlier as if nothing was going to go his way, but the fact is a chance has come along.
Yeah, I mean, I think both players, certainly Davis, saw a real opening in this match, not only at 4-0, because obviously you're already way in front, but just that chance to go 5-0. And Mark Davis has squandered 2 or 3 pretty good chances, let's be honest, since then. And it's only one frame, and he'll have a very healthy lead, but you wonder if it will be a turning point. I think it's very possible. And he hasn't quite got this frame one yet, I might add. He'll need to pot that red, which, where the pink is, he's not guaranteed, I would say. And he's tried to move it. It was a great effort, in fact. So the frame's still live.
Not. Blik her. Det er nok.
Well, Davis needs to hit this. That's the first thing to say. If he doesn't, he needs a snooker himself. But obviously, if he leaves it on, it's going to be Brecel's first frame. Got to dig in. That's the thing. You know, he's felt things have gone against him, and some things have, and other times he's just played not well. But there's still always hope.
Well, there's still a bit of hope in this frame as well.
Well, there you are. You do need a bit of fortune. There's a wry smile on Luca's face.
Well, that was something that Luca could be thankful about for once there. I think he feels maybe it's not been his day so far. That was a very handy little nudge.
Yeah, that's the other thing that can change the look. I mean, he had a beautiful little kiss on the black to leave it here. So again, got to hit it. Can't leave it. It's a very good hit.
The frame's not quite over yet for Luca. You feel that he could easily win it, or he should win it from here, but he hasn't done so yet. And while there's a lingering doubt, and Mark Davis, if he could clear, I don't know if it will be from this visit, but what is it that John Virgo always says? He never really settled into a match until he won a frame, and that's where Luca is. He hasn't won one yet. He's been playing a couple of hours. Well, that's he was in trouble there, Mark Davis. So this is the one which will see him over the line in a frame.
Well, it's been a struggle, and it wasn't a clean kill, but it looks like he has now won his first frame. As it stands, though, 2 snookers.
Blik her. One.
Rather strange shot there. If he plays a double, the black can get the 7 points and then leave himself snookered, or if he misses a double, his opponent snookered. Could have rolled behind the black.
Yeah, there's a couple of nasty spots potentially for snookers here as well, so this is not quite done yet. Well, it's done now. He's potted a great yellow. So, has started. It's not been the sort of barnstorming snooker we associate with him, but he's dug in. Things have been going against him. He's not been happy, but bottom line, he's on the scoreboard.
Nej. Blik her.
So Brecel not at his brilliant best, but he is finally coming to the party in this match. Mark Davis still on 4 in a race to 6. 4-1 it is. Brecel a little bit happier. So Mark Davis still in a very strong position, of course. 4-1, but it was 4-0. Did have chances in that 5th frame. Mark Selby, meantime, 3-0 and well in front in the 4th against Stuart Carrington.
I think what's in Luca's favour here, if anything, is not a great deal is at 4-1 down. But, you know, I've said this before, but best of 11 can be a very long session of snooker. It doesn't necessarily mean it'll take 5 hours, but sometimes they do. But either way, it's a lot of frames in one session. Whereas, you know, even at the World Championship, you think of the long matches, but most sessions are 8 frames or 9, the first part of a match. But, you know, usually there's a chance for a player to get back into a match over the course of those few hours over the one session. So that's what he's got in his favour here, I think. Now, Mark Davis has even started missing those. Now, one thing he hasn't done is miss anything to that right corner. I think that he's starting to feel the pressure of beating a current world champion. You know, that would be a pretty lofty thing for him to hope for at this stage of his career. Let's be honest, you know, he's 51 years of age. He dropped off the tour, got back on by default almost. And now a chance to beat the world champion, and he's 4-1 up. It's a great scoreline, but does it feel like that right now?
Well, I guess it's a bit like a sort of long distance race, isn't it? Where you're well in front, but you start looking over your shoulder and you feel that there's someone behind you catching up.
What?
There's a lot catching up. Brecel may himself sense this is turning round. Just quickly to say, Sijawi and Jack, they both had very good World Championships. That's 2 each. It was 2-0 to Jones. Sijawi has, but whoever wins will play either Ronnie O'Sullivan or Mark Joyce, which is our live match later on.
Eight. Nine. Sixty. 70. Four. 25.
Well, a big break would certainly give him some confidence, because he's not been showing a great deal. He's not had all that great a control of the cue ball up until now. But something dynamic would maybe kickstart this match and his chances this week.
32. Three.
Could go into the bunch here. He doesn't need to, but he might just feel it's one way of holding for the Reds. He's taking a lot of almost gambles at the minute. He wanted to stay on the black there and try and take as many red blacks as he could.
40.
And it would take some shot to play on the black from here. I mean, he could play red to the left middle and go in and out of bulk. I'm not sure even if that's on, but it shouldn't be uppermost in his thoughts at this stage. I'm almost glad that he did play on something else, but the black means he's honed into the match.
Yeah, and he played it well, didn't he? Played it with good control. They're the sort of shots that maybe he's not been getting so far, but it's just signs that this match is just starting to turn a little bit. Certainly if he can win the frame in one visit, that does send a message to Mark Davis that he is catching up.
Yes, he's very good at winning frames quickly. I always think back to that world final, the very first frame of 35. What you think? Why would I be thinking about that frame? Well, Mark Selby had that grueling match against Mark Allen that went on until, well, the early hours almost of the morning of the final. Long frames, hard frames. Luca came out and won the first frame in, I think, about 6.5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, to lead 1-0 in that final. And it's almost like Mark Selby's what hit me there, because he hadn't seen anything so rapid. And he continued to sort of win frames like that all the way through that match. So he can put frames to bed early on. This has caused him a few more problems. He's not quite in that same form, of course, playing as fluently as that. But it's certainly in that final sent out a message, I think, to Selby.
Yeah, and then of course on the second day, Selby had hit back, he'd had the maximum, there's only one frame in it. And the third session, Brecel made 4 centuries. Just played unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's one of the great finals at Crucible, I think. It really was. It had so much in it. The Selby, evening comeback, as you say, with that maximum on day 2, and as he was trying to do it in session 4, it was a very special snooker match. Such a contrast as well. It's almost like people think that you can't have great finals. Some of the greatest finals that happen now has to have been 20 years ago. But to me, that was as good as anything I've seen. Very entertaining. Both players, superb.
Yeah, you could tell that. Just talking to Mark afterwards, he wasn't down in the dumps. He accepted how well Luca played. He needs to try and find some of that here. These are good signs as he just patiently goes about this, not rushing. Determined to kill this off. A couple of balls needed to do that. And then you do feel it's game on, because it's not just narrowing the gap, it's how he's done it. In this frame, it's been one visit. Frame ball.
Yeah, I think if it's possible, Mark Davis was struggling to win these frames at 4-0 because Luca Brecel was struggling as well. It's almost I've got to get these frames won now while he's playing like this.
74.
I can't afford to lose. And again, start of the match, he would have snapped your hand off to be 4-2 up, Mark Davis, but that's not how snooker is played out in the mind very often.
79.
So out of nowhere, a chance for a century. He just about kept his cool. There were a couple of moments where things were going against him and he felt he might not, but he did, and this is the result of that.
87.
Ooh. Not to be for the century, but by far his highest break of the match. And this match getting interesting now. It was 4-0. Mark Davis very much in control, but Brecel now may be starting to find his form as he narrows the gap to 4-2. This match 4-2 to Mark Davis. Just to say, Wang Zimbo, the wildcard, he was 3-0 up against Dylan Emery. It's now 3-2. Emery had a 1-3-6 there. That's his highest break on tour thus far. He's in his second season. Wang beat Ben Wollaston yesterday.
I'm not sure how that went in. It was always looked like it was hitting the left cushion. Not so much halfway up, but didn't ever think it was an in off. Just sitting a bit lower in his chair, isn't he? Like, not sort of feeling as chipper as he did at the start of the match. Now that's a terrific shot from Luca Brecel. Terrific long red.
Eight. Nine.
Oh, the reds are spread nicely at this end, but landing behind one from any bulk colour is not that easy. If he could finish over on the left side, there's a choice of reds to the right corner. I don't know whether he can get there or not.
Okay.
And now he can get across to the left side of the table if he wants to. Where there's a choice of reds. This match is starting to feel as though it's been turned completely on its head.
80.
Obviously, if Brecel misses and allows Davis in, that run will come to an end. But right now,
Nine.
it's like a different game to the one we saw in the early frames.
Six.
Yeah, it feels that there's a choice of reds to the left corner.
34.
That other red to the right corner he could consider, but I don't think he has to. I think he's got at least one that goes. Maybe even the plant is on.
Meantime, a century from Zhang Anda, just really emphasising how well he's playing. He's 5-1 now for Mark Williams, so 3 times world champion. The only frame he's won, he made a century himself, Williams, but he's been shut out as well. And Zhang looking really good on table 2.
For history. Fifth.
By the way, it's now 4-0 Sri Lanka over Anthony Hamilton, so it's not only that he keeps beating him, he just keeps hammering him, basically. It's the 3rd meeting in a month, and Hamilton yet to win a frame.
57. 59.
That's a good area to play in. That's a great shot. That's a terrific shot. He played to get through that gap between
64.
brown and yellow, which looks a small gap, but on that shot you can send the cue ball down there, weaving through the bulk colours.
So this next red, and suddenly it's 4-3 and 4-0. If you weren't with us earlier, he really was struggling to put anything together. And as I say, it's not just, and it's how it's happened. Okay, the first frame that he won was a bit scrappy, but the next two, they've been single visits, 80 to 65 here.
So this three.
What made his run through the crucible so fascinating and exciting was the fact that in every round he could have lost. They're all close games and recoveries and inspirational bursts of snooker, and he's having to do it again here. But as I did mention at the start, he did say that being world champion, being on the main table all the time, has forced him to really focus, and he's done that in this match, and he's looking good now. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a bit of a one-off as a player, isn't he? He's got his own way of doing things, and that's how he won the world title, in his own way. He's always been a bit like that, you know. He's not, doesn't feel like he needs to copy or mimic anyone else. He's his own man, which is something to like about anybody, I think, in sport.
Well, again, it's not a century. Well, hang on, it might be. No, but 94 to follow 87. Two very solid frames of snooker from Luca Brecel, and from staring down the barrel at 4-0, this is now anyone's at 4-3. So Mark Davis at 4-0 was a heavy favourite. It's now 4-3. Brecel's had back-to-back breaks of 87 and 94 to get right back into it.
Well, to the point now, Dave, is he favoured at all, Davis? You know, people that are watching this game might have thought that the trend now is certainly with Luca Brecel. Made a mistake there, by the way, but it just could be that Brecel is now in running favourite. Well, it wasn't an easy pot with the rest to try and screw back for a colour. Now, he's looking at a 3-ball plant here. Goodness, that looks tough. Especially because the cue ball's not straight behind the 3 reds either, I think. But at least this way, if he does play it, the cue ball should be retreating down the table. It looks pretty adjacent on that angle. Played it pretty well because he didn't let the cue ball just drift all the way into bulk. And played on the blue consciously. Now, if he could only get on the left side of the table, red up directly above the black, that would open everything up. I don't know what angle he's got on the blue.
Six.
I just when he looks at this, these matches can turn around quickly. Dylan Emery was 3-0 down to Wang Jingbo. He's had breaks of 1-3-6, 63 and 122. It's 3-3. And just on Mark Selby, he's now 4-0 up on Stuart Carrington.
Well, he might end up looking at the left-hand red as a right-handed player. It's not easier than the red to the right corner, but he can probably reach it more comfortably. He has missed a couple of rest shots, Luca, so far in this match. Not necessarily that significant, but he's missed a couple. So that's why he's playing this one. Put in a short one there. To see that, Luca didn't quite finish the backswing. A little jabby strike.
Demeanour has certainly changed as he's made this closer. He was looking a bit sort of fed up earlier and gave a sort of ironic thumbs up at one point when he went in off, but now very studious as he senses big chance here. We've seen Judd Trump, yes, he's won all those matches, but he's had to fight hard in quite a few of them, particularly in Belfast.
He's a bit worried about the black, I think, here. The safety shot, which the natural angle would be, I think, to go into the black on the way back down to bulk off the side of the bunch, so it's kind of posed him a little bit of a problem. Might have to get the cue around the back of it or play very thin contact. Well, he's decided just to roll up to it, so clearly the black he feels is integral in the safety shot. So he's played just a 100% containing effort there, nothing else. A lot of those pots were going in early on in the match, that's safe to say. Well, that's a lot better from Mark Davis, a lot better. And he's played it so well that the angle on the blue takes him down for the red. So this is something of a rare chance in recent frames. And safe to say, it's a good chance. It's got a little bit too far, but that's okay. He'll move the red away from the black spot. He could be in business here.
6. Seven. $14.
Well, just to say on table 2, they're about to stop play. I think there's a problem with wood. So Mark Williams and Zhang Anda are in their seats. Nothing happening there. Took a long time over that, but he's played it nicely.
Yeah, almost a little sort of brush off the red, really, wasn't it? He had to ensure to get onto the black. It was, as you say, a good shot. This is where snooker, a lot of it is played in the mind. Has he gone too far? Well, there you are. He has gone too far, and this is the point. He looks very disappointed because he was in with a good chance there.
Yeah, particularly after the previous shot, so that's a disappointment. I can tell on the other table there's all sorts happening. Someone's sort of brought a scoreboard out to show the referee, but it didn't really help the players. They're still sat in their seats.
Well, the only consolation is he's played a very fine safety shot, but of course he'd rather be at the table scoring, goes without saying. But that has actually put Luca in a spot of bother.
Just to say, Williams and Zhang are now back underway. Mark Williams, though, still in trouble, 5-1 down. This match has got very interesting. Mark Davis has missed an initial opportunity in this frame, but it's on a bit of a knife edge now.
It's another well-played shot from Mark Davis. Just trying to regroup after positionally letting himself down a bit earlier in the frame, and he's covered everything. As you can see, that's what the shaded area denotes. Well, often you see players err on the side of caution on that shot. You always knew that one was never going to hit the red. It was always too deep towards the right corner pocket to swing round and hit the red.
Meanwhile, Zhou Yulong piling on the misery against Anthony Hamilton. It's now 5-0.
For the miss. Now there's 4. Yes. For the miss. Now there's 4.
Doesn't want to overcorrect and get the red thick, so it's sort of margins here, really. Obviously, if he'd have seen a red full, it would have been a different story.
Indeed. It would be looking at a different shot. That looked better. But these points, if he ends up getting the shot right after 4 or 5 goes even, you know, it'll be worth it in the eyes of Luca Brecel.
Yeah, there we go. That's what he was looking for. Just to say, Jack Jones, I said he was 2-0 up, 2-2 with Sijia Wee. It's now 4-2 to Jones. He's had back-to-back centuries, 103, 101.
Big mistake. Very big mistake. And Mark Davis did well there because, you know, having made that error, he's won the safety battle ever since. What he can't afford to do here is make another mistake, because this is a gilt-edged chance. He's a few in front. The table's playing fairly easy. He's in, and this would get him to within a frame, so it would absolutely stop the rot. It would stop Brecel in his tracks, all of these things. But if it were to go wrong, back into the frame, then it would feel almost worse. And Brecel made a century when he got in at the start. So in the context of this match, quite big moments these, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good chance this. You wonder if he doesn't take it, if he could win this match. Got to just focus on every shot here. Just steady the ship a bit. There's nothing really he hasn't seen in the game over a long career, 32 years since he turned professional. We talk about the class of 92. He was the class of 91 when the game first went open.
70.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're a long way in front of the match and you get stuck frames to win, it can be quite frustrating. Whereas if you do get to the point where you need winning line in your sights, and that's how he would feel if he could just get this position converted, and he's looking like he could well do so. 75 on, but that's going to go down by 8 points now. The lead grows. The Reds are in the middle of the table. Great chance.
And now. Sorted.
So there you see this black to lead by 55 with 59 on, so one more red needed in addition.
Yes, and he had a shot like this earlier in the match where he just rolled the ball in. He's kind of done the same there. He hasn't really played on the black. It's a trained ball. Brecel would need 2 snookers should this black be missed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest break of the match by any means, but it's been one of the most important for the Hastings man as the black goes in, so should be 5-3. And now again it's over to Brecel to mount some sort of response. Mark Williams has extended the match next door. It's 5-2 now to Zhang Anda.
The break is likely to end there, but he'll be more than happy with this contribution. Took him 2 bites of the cherry in this frame, but there you are. That's Mark Davis back in command, it seems.
It was an important visit, wasn't it? 59, solid break that from the world number 64, who now finds himself a frame from knocking out the world champion. Luca Brecel in trouble again, trailing 5-3. Well, we're just waiting for Mark Davis to return after that important for him 59 break to get him to 5-3. So he needs one more frame to knock out the world champion, Luca Brecel, who, of course, was 4-0 down, fought back well. But Davis was able to just take the sting out of that last frame. He played some good safety, earned the chance, took the chance, and now he's favoured again to book his place in the last 32. Mark Williams did win that 7th frame against Zhang Anda. They're just underway in the next. That's live on Discovery Plus. We've got Mark Selby 4-1 over Stuart Carrington. Zhao Guodong 3-2 over Jimmy Robertson. Liam Pullen, he's a new pro from Leeds. He's 3-2 up on Noppin Senkam. 3-3 Dylan Emery and Wang Xinbo. 4-2 Jack Jones over Si Jiahui in the other matches. 5-0 Zhou Yulong over Anthony Hamilton as well. So Luca Brecel gets frame 9 underway, and he needs to win the last 3 to avoid an early exit here in Tianjin.
Yeah, I mean, it did look like it was all about Brecel up until that previous frame. There was quite a long safety exchange, which maybe took the sting out of the comeback a little bit that he was about to unleash.
As I say, Brecel knows he's potentially one shot away from opening the door to being knocked out of the event. So pressure back on him now. He was applying it, of course, to Davis when he was coming back, but things have shifted once more.
Yeah, he can't get through to the left side of the table as we look. Probably felt he was forced into going for the pot there. Now, has he left a red on that first red? Is it potable? Maybe the other red below it to the right is in the way for that right corner.
Well, he's looking at one to the middle. Ooh, got close to it.
Yeah, I mean, the corner pockets seem big. I think the middle pockets, there's nothing different about those. If you don't hit them right. We saw Mark Davis miss a blue off the spot earlier in the match, which came as a big surprise.
What?
Oh dear, it's finished absolutely nowhere there. In the Elk Mudders, had the red gone in, the cue ball might have been better directed. So now what do you do? I mean, I suppose you could cut the black in, but it would look horrendously wrecked. Possibly his very last of the International Championship 2023. But what else meaningful can you do here? I think he's looking at the pot. And he's looking at the pot. He's going to clear the red from the black spot. A lot rests on this. It was almost a bit of a sort of get away from the table quickly, having missed it. But I tell you, the cue ball somehow has gone into a safe space, it seems.
Yeah, it sort of fled the scene of the crime, didn't it, the white there? much to his relief.
He couldn't have known about that. I mean, he's going to hit the red on the black spot. You know, literally everything could have gone wrong. I suppose he'd have been, had he potted the black, he'd have felt aggrieved that he wasn't on the red. Wow. The black's not hanging over the pocket, but it'd be hard to refuse it, I think, the way they've been sliding in down the rails. Well, he didn't play it as if he thought it was a certainty to pot it. Otherwise, he'd have played it with more pace to get the cue ball away from the pocket.
8.
I mean, he has, I think, got a red on, has he? That red that he didn't play earlier on, does it go past the other red to the right corner? Well, yes, but he's tough. I don't know why he didn't play that red earlier when he had the chance. Now, is he even on the black? He had a chance to pot that red earlier in the frame when he was first in, but he refused it. He's got a gap through, but it's quite difficult cueing. Red on either side and on the rail.
Well, we've had our first result, and it's Groundhog Day, I'm afraid, for Anthony Hamilton, who's lost 0 to Zhou Yulong, who in the last month has also beaten him 5-0 and 4-0 in various tournaments, Wuhan Open and Northern and Scottish Open. So I'm sure we'll be looking at the draw for the next tournament with great interest to see who he's got. Not Zhou Yulong, he hopes.
And also, didn't he win 6-0 yesterday as well against a different opponent? The Ministry of Defence.
Yeah, so he's on the right old run, isn't he? That's what, 16 frames. Now, a chance here for Davis to get this one. Red's freely available, black and pink and blue all on their spots. And just having won that last frame, just got that clear blue water back between him and Brecel.
Yeah, I mean, this is as good a chance as you could get. And to be honest, it was an outrageous fluke, which got him in. But he has got the situation under control since. Now, I know that's absolutely no consolation to Luca Brecel, because all he's thinking about is the fluke, and it was a big one. I did say that the black that Luca Brecel went for, that he had felt he had no choice. The left corner might be his last shot. Well, I didn't necessarily think that after he'd played it and seemingly got away with it, because it appeared he had got away with it, leaving the cue ball up towards the right top pocket. Now it doesn't appear that at all.
Snooker is such a game of shifting emotions, and you go back to April, Mark Davis thought he'd been relegated from the tour. After 32 years, he missed a pink in the decider against his good friend Joe Perry to qualify for the Crucible. If you'd have said to him then, 6 months down the line, he'd have a chance to beat the world champion in a big money event in China, he wouldn't have believed you, because he wouldn't think he'd be on the tour. But he had a reprieve, 4 more places were made available. He got one of them on the ranking list. And here he is with his chance, 39 in front already. Looking to stay calm for the next few minutes and complete what would be a terrific win. Yeah, played that nicely.
47.
Got a couple of safe reds as well, which obviously is in his favour with the lead he's got.
48.
Yeah, as I say, I think he got stuck on 4 frames for a while. Now he got to within 1. It sort of invigorated him and given him this opportunity. And Brecel, who did look really good for a couple of frames, he never at his absolute best, but he looked like he had everything going for him. And I must say, at one point he looked the winner, even though he was still 4-3 down. If nothing else, Mark Davis got a lot of experience. And, you know, he's seen a lot of things. Victories from behind, defeats from in front. All those years as a pro.
Brecel started badly. He's lacking a bit of sharpness. He didn't play in the last 2 tournaments. And he needs a late twist here. Davis a couple of balls away from getting this one.
62.
He needs another red now after this blue. You can see there, the blue puts him 66 in front, 67 on. So 1 more red and he should be home and dry, and this will be a great win for him. He's 51 years of age. Obviously doesn't know how many more years he'll have on tour, but what a win this would be over the world champion.
67.
This is the ball. And in it goes. So Mark Davis looks like he's done it. He just steadied the ship, didn't he? He was caught from 4-0 to 4-3. Looks like the bow tie's coming off for Brecel. He's seen enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrific win for Mark Davis. Result for Luca Brecel. And that is not to diminish what Mark Davis has achieved, because he is. And, you know, the spotlight and the scrutiny is on him this season more than ever. And, you know, Mark Davis has not been getting any real results, has he? Let's be honest, but he's got one today.
Well, Brecel's been enjoying himself, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's world champion, but he doesn't enjoy losing, clearly. Already the bow tie off. I'm sure he'll put the work in before the Champion of Champions next week, but he won't be playing any further part in this international championship. So one of the contenders for the world #1 spot is out, and suddenly Mark Davis is just playing great. The match is done. He's looking to finish with a century. All the pressure is lifted. And these are enjoyable moments for him and his supporters.
Well, he's a real spring in his step. He's absolutely bounding around the table, isn't he? So, yeah, terrific win. As I say, to beat the world champion at the time, the current champ, in a big event like this, you know, is a real feather in anyone's cap.
92.
He got off to a good start. I think that's the key. You know, he really did. The first 2 or 3 frames, it wasn't always cue ball under immaculate control, but he got off to an excellent start and got the job done.
99.
Well, our graphics people have already chalked up the 6 on the score there, but the match is done. He's won it in style. And what a confidence-boosting win this is, and that's the problem I guess Brecel has. It's a good problem to have, but he's got a target on his back now. All his matches are on one of the main tables, and everybody now wants to beat him. So a fine finish, a century in the last frame from Mark Davis, and a big win for him. It got a bit sticky when his 4-0 lead was reduced to 4-3. Brecel, though, couldn't keep that up, and Mark Davis, he made that good 54 in the 8th frame. That was, or 59 it was in the 8th frame. That was the break that really steadied things, and then stepped in one visit. Obviously the fluke got him in, but he kept going, and a really big win for him. He thought he was off the tour at the end of last season, but here he is a few months on. He's beaten 6-3. Now, we're not done yet because table 2 is continuing.